Hello and welcome to another episode of Arab News New Media Channel. We have with us today Mr. Hasan Ghias, one of the most prominent expats in Saudi Arabia. He is the Vice President at Binzagr company and has seen the kingdom grow not just in numbers but also in terms of infrastructure development. We will speak to him about the changing attitudes of a newspaper reader and what he expects to see in your most favorite newspaper. Hello, Mr. Hasan Ghias.
Hello, Mr. Siraj Wahab. I'm very pleased to be here with you this afternoon.
Thank you very much for giving us the honor to interview you for the Arab News New Media Channel. First things first, can you tell us about your first arrival in the kingdom and what were your impressions then?
Well, I came to the kingdom to work for the first time in August of 1979.
79.
I had been here a few times before when I was visiting on business visits from my previous organization, which was Hindustan Lever from Bombay. And so when I arrived, of course, there was a lot of infrastructural development going on, because as you know that 1973 with the first oil price shock, oil prices went up a lot. There was a lot of cash flowing into the kingdom, petrodollars, large numbers of expatriates started arriving, huge infrastructure projects were undertaken, roads, bridges, airports, ports. So it was a very exciting time. And also it was a time when there was a lot of growth in the economy. If you could import something, get it passed beyond the port, you could sell it very easily.
Okay.
And there was rapid expansion in the kingdom. So it was a period of great excitement, great opportunities, and a lot of growth.
Mr. Ghias, you were associated, or you are associated with the Binzagrs. Can you tell us about the older generation and the new generation? How are they different? How was the older generation like?
Well, I have worked closely in various capacities with the Binzagr family, who are an outstanding family, well-educated, wonderful values. And when I came here, their father was still alive, but not associated or involved with the day-to-day business. So he was more like...
the father meaning Wahib?
No, Wahib's father.
Wahib's.
But he was not in the running of the business. And the four brothers were actively involved. Regrettably, Sheikh Wahib is not with us anymore. The three other brothers are there and active. Then there's the younger generation, their sons, who are also involved in one way or the other with the business. The thing that impressed me most was the values of the family. They are highly respected for their honesty, integrity, and they have some very strong family values, which have been transmitted very faithfully to the younger generation. So having watched the older generation and now also looking at the younger generation, one of the things that I find most satisfying is that the value system is very much intact.
Okay.
And the outlooks may be somewhat different, but the values are very much the same. And so I'm very optimistic about the future of the business, because the fundamentals are strong, the leadership is strong, the value system is very strong.
Mr. Ghias, you said you arrived here in 1979. That was just the beginning of the first oil boom, if I'm correct. And we are into another oil boom. What are the lessons that have been done from 79 oil boom to 2013 or 2012 or 2011 or 2010 oil boom?
Yes, you see, as with any rapid expansion of the economy and rapid expansion of money supply, there was a degree of wastefulness in the economy following the oil boom in the early days.
Okay.
And because people were still finding their feet, there was a lot of wastefulness, I think, overall. But over time, businesses became wiser and better at cutting costs and improving profitability. So I think overall we have a much more professional business environment today than existed in the 70s.
Mr. Ghias, has the internet changed your readership priorities? Are you reading the newspaper online? Are you reading the newspaper in print? How has it changed?
It has changed a great deal because now newspapers are not from where you actually first get the news from. Because whatever you read in the newspaper, except for some local news, you have already seen on the TV or you have seen on the internet. So the newspaper is no longer the first point from where you receive your news.
Okay.
So much of what you see in the newspaper you already have seen the day earlier.
So how has Arab News changed over the years? And what difference does it make?
I have been very fond of Arab News right from the time I came, so I've been a regular reader of Arab News for almost 34 years. I think its coverage is very comprehensive, but what I also like about it is the articles that you can get to read, and some of them are very interesting, thought-provoking. So what I'm looking for in the newspaper today is really not the news as such, but commentary on what's going on, analysis of the news, and articles which reflect on current affairs and provide perspectives on what's going on around you. So it is really the news analysis and the perspective that you get about what is going on. That is what is more relevant from a newspaper than just simply getting the news from the newspaper.
And Mr. Hasan Ghias, it must be an immense sense of pride in you when you see the young crop of Saudis coming up and taking up leadership positions and all that. How has this journey been, and what would be your advice to those young Saudis who have tuned in and are listening to you as a corporate head honcho?
Well, I think they have a great future. I'm very optimistic about the capabilities of young Saudis who increasingly are getting well educated and coming into the workplace, developing a work ethic, working hard to progress, and I think there are lots and lots of opportunities for them, for Saudis, young Saudis, both male and female. And all that I can say is that that spirit of learning has to be kept alive. The first years of one's career are more learning years than earning years.
More learning years than earning years.
Yes, because the more you learn, the more you get to know, the more competencies you build, the more the earnings will be in the years to come. So my advice to young people is that focus for the first 5 to 10 years of your career, focus on your learning, which is much more important than your earning. The earnings will follow, but they will be a derivative of what you have learned. And of course, learning never stops in life, but certainly the first few years of one's career are critically important to what you learn, and also the aptitudes to work that you develop. because many a time you find that there is a lot of potential and a lot of talent, but then attitudes become a barrier to progress. So it is also inculcating the right attitudes and the right work habits that take you far in your career. But overall, I see the picture as bright and optimistic, and I have nothing but goodwill for all the young men and women who are coming into the workforce today.
Mr. Hasan Ghias, you are an alumnus of a very historic university from India called the Aligarh Muslim University. A lot of our readers are from that segment and all. And I'm sure you've had many opportunities, not just in Saudi Arabia, in the Gulf, but of course in the Western world as well. What made you to stick to Saudi Arabia, to remain here and spend all your, or most of your life in this part of the world? There must be some reason to it.
Well, I'm an alumnus of actually 4 universities. Aligarh was where I did my first degree from, followed by Delhi University and London University, Harvard University. So I've actually been in 4 universities. I'm an alumnus of 4 universities. Now, I came to Saudi Arabia for family reasons, and I initially had not planned to be here for so long.
Which is always the case with all expats.
Which is more or less the case with all expats. But then I found that there were many wonderful things about this country. And to be quite honest, I didn't stay on for want of options. There were options along the way, and several of them. But I consciously chose to stay in Saudi Arabia. The biggest benefit, I think, thinking back, that we as a family had was that the bonding with the children was very strong.
Okay.
If I had lived in India, I used to work for Hindustan Lever, now Hindustan Unilever. A busy executive's life in a metro town like Bombay or Calcutta or Delhi, you're extremely busy and you do not get enough time with your family, you do not get enough time with your children.
True.
And though you shower them with lots of things, but what is scarce is time. And therefore the bonding that happens with the children is not as strong. Now here, in a way, because the children are very dependent on you, but also there's a lot of opportunity and the work-life balance is very good, you get a lot of opportunity to build those bonds with the children. And if you really ask me what is the greatest benefit of my being here in Saudi Arabia, is that I could raise my children exactly with the kind of values that I would have wanted to inculcate in them. And today, when I see them as grown-up young people, I'm very happy to see that the values that my wife and I wanted to transmit to those children have been very faithfully transmitted. And I think that, to me, is much more satisfying than the career progression I may have made, or the savings I may have made, or the life I may have led. I think the greatest benefit has been that the children were brought up the way we would have liked to have brought them up, and they hold the values that we hold very dear to ourselves.
Mr. Hasan Ghias, hundreds of viewers are watching this on arabnews.com and on Facebook page of Arab News. Would you like to say something to them?
Well, all I can say is that Arab News is a great publication. I have been very fond of reading with Arab News, fond of reading Arab News, and I think it is a very interesting publication. It engages with the community, the local community, very well, and there's a lot of interest in this publication within Saudi Arabia and outside Saudi Arabia. And there are so many who have lived and worked here who leave this country to go elsewhere, but one of the things that they do wish to retain is their link to Arab News. And now with the availability of internet, they are able to read Arab News online And I know so many of my friends who are no longer in Saudi Arabia, but who still keep up the habit of reading Arab News.
Arab News is a very interesting publication. That was Mr. Hasan Ghias, our guest for today. Thank you very much for tuning into Arab News New Media Channel.